Hi, my name is John from the Reverend John O'Toole site YouTube channel. It's also the John O'Toole site among so many other John O'Tooles out there. And but you'll see my picture. Google has a tendency of splitting me apart from my channel, and I don't know how to fix it. Someone could tell me how to fix it. I'd love that, but so these days it's the Reverend John O'Toole site. That's when I upload a video and I get the message about editing it, and I can actually get in and tweak videos, or if I want to. The other one, I can't get into it. I'll just get notifications that someone's commented on it, and I'm free to comment just like anybody else, but I apparently don't own it. So as you can see in the background, there's a new color for the living room. Will match my cranberry carpet that I have picked out, but it's yet to go in. So, but at any rate, that's not the purpose of this conversation. This conversation is coined off of Bill and Rose's Off-Grid Cabin, who challenged everybody to produce a video explaining them how we got here and how we're doing videos. So, as the story goes, many years ago, a bunch of us got together, a bunch of metaphysical New Age healers got together and realized that if the world were to go to poop, basically, and that's a spiritual term, that the world wouldn't take care of us, because, we would be standing in line with everybody else, waiting for the National Guard to show up with water and white rice and toilet paper, maybe, if you're lucky. I mean, you see how it is. Disasters happen, there's no bathrooms, there's no place to shower, no place to wash your clothes, no place to sleep, except, under a tarp if you're lucky. So 20 or 30 of us got together and we started to create a safe place to go that was above 1,200 feet off the water, above sea level. And we started collecting seeds and grains, and we prepackaged food, and the kits you can get from various locations. We particularly like the ones that are out in Ohio, the Mormon food storage system. But we've also copied that and taken a lot of different things and packaged them in Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers and into the Home Depot buckets, because the Home Depot bucket has a rubber seal in the lid, and that helps seal up that bucket when you want to seal it up. There's various ways. You can also heat sink the Mylar bag with the oxygen absorbers in it and put the lid on, and you could use a less expensive bucket, but it's 50 cents versus $1, so it's not like it's a lot. And we were teaching ourselves techniques about survival, composting toilets, for example, because when a disaster happens and the toilets stop flowing to the treatment plant, it's got to go somewhere. And that's another thing that's causing disease. Composting toilets are a better way to go. You can look up Humanor, and that will help you. There's some good books on it. You can look up Liquid Gold, which is about urine, and urine is sterile before it leaves the body, and you can actually take that and dilute it 40-to-1 and water your plants with it, unless there's somebody that's using some kind of chemo, and then that might be a problem. But then again, if you're in the woods hiding out, they're not getting chemo treatment, so eventually that won't be a problem. So, we learned about food, how to preserve water, how to purify water, Berkeley and various things. I have videos in there about stuff like this. So that's what we did. We created a safe space. Meanwhile, we're learning about off-grid power, solar systems, wind turbines, water power, purified water, seeds, establishing an active garden, so that we can have, food, and then be able to store that food for winter so that we can get through winter, to be less dependent on the government in case things go downhill rather fast. So you have to take care of your physical body. And of course you can see I got a big physical body. Well, it's a work in progress, but it's all about that. So we've learned a lot about sustainability. So we went from being preppers to sustainability-ists. What does Juno say? I'm not a sustainability-ologist. Well, we're close though. We know a lot about sustainability, and we're always willing to learn more and more. At the farm, we're doing hugel beds, which require a lot less water than conventional gardening. There's also the grow bags, using shopping bags. You can grow plants in those, reducing your need for water. So, we explore what people are doing and learn it, and we've kind of created some space. I have tons of pictures, as Bill shared. He has tons of pictures, well, so do I. But it's kind of hard to tell a story with pictures. I've tried to, but it requires a lot of typing and, paragraphs, and, it's easier for me to put on a camera and talk than it is to the other. So eventually I learned to start, well, it's no big deal. You just turn movie on your camera and then, videotape what you're doing. So that's what I do. When I'm working on a project, I try to videotape it. The actual location of our farm is not on any of my YouTubes, and it's not on my Facebooks. Only people that know me know where it is, and I'm not going to share that because I don't want you all showing up when things hit the fan. So, nothing personal. I love you all, but you know what? We don't have enough room for 1,000 people. We don't have enough food for 1,000 people. So the suggestion is for you to create a safe space, and don't make it near seawater or someplace that can flood out easy. Because, look around. Places that never flooded before are flooding out. Tornadoes are setting down, that never happened before, or haven't happened for 100 years. When we look around, just look at the news now. Just natural disasters alone, the fact that somebody could, set off a bomb. Seems like anybody can get their hands on a bomb, or a plane, or a drone, or, you pick it. Sustainability. Setting it safe for your family and your friends. If you don't have kids, you still can do it for your friends. Just don't do it alone. Get somebody involved. Just make sure you can trust them. Make sure when you roll over or go to sleep at night, they're not going to put a knife in your back. Because that wouldn't be fun, It's hard to get out, I can't reach all the way to my back. I couldn't be able to pull that out. So I'd have to devise some kind of a tool, like a board. I'd use this thing here. This is one of my favorite tools here. This here. Pick things up off the ground and stuff. So I'd be using that to try to get that knife out of my back, and I might have trouble. I'd probably die before I get it out. But that's what it's about. Sharing information. A lot of us they'll tell you how to build a solar system. What kind of inverter to get, what kind of battery to get, how to do the connections. You could buy top level batteries, the best inverter you can find, and then cheap out on your battery cables or your connectors for your battery cables, and then have a poor connection. Just like your car won't start if the battery connections are bad. Well, hey, the same thing happens with off-grid power. So you want to, you don't want to cut corners. This is your life sentence there, Generator, you get yourself a decent generator. You could buy cheap generators for a few $100s, and you could buy a better generator for a few more $100s. Which one do you want to rely on for your life? Wintertime here, I'm in New England, so we have tough winters. Last year we had at least 4 feet of snow, if not more than that. Sometimes it would just rain away and then snow another 4 feet. So, you can't grow food outside. You can't live outside. And it'll be hard to live in your house with no heat. So you've got to kind of figure that out. Figure out how you're going to do it. You could build an underground shelter, and that way your temperature is only 65. And you're just going to move it up another 20 degrees to live in it. So there's certainly ways to do it. Some things are cheap, some things aren't. The more stuff you can do yourself, the better off you are for a number of reasons. One is you save your labor costs. The other thing is if the system fails, you have a better chance of figuring out why. You can have somebody come in and build you an off-grid solar system, which is a good thing. But if a thing fails and they're not picking up the phone because the poop hit the fan, or the phones don't work, you can't call anybody because cell phone service is probably the first things to go, then you're going to try to fix it yourself. So even if you have somebody do it, you better know that system inside and out. You've got to have ways of cleaning water. There's ways to take water out of a puddle and purify it so you can drink it. And you can learn how to do that. It's not that hard. The problem is you have to have the materials stored away so when you need them you can get them, because you're not going to be able to go to your neighbor and say, hey, do you have this? Hey, do you have that? You can, but they're probably not going to have it. You can't go to the hardware store and get it because they're probably not going to have it either. So you need to have food, water, good food, nutritional food, and maybe some junk food. Yes, I have marshmallows stored away at Home Depot buckets, vacuum sealed. Yeah, I do. I have saltine crackers. Yeah, I do. I have ketchup packets, the little packets of ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard. Yeah, those 3 things. I do. In the beginning, your kids are going to want the sweets. So you're better off just having sweets. Eventually, they will not desire the sweets anymore, but in the beginning, they're going to want their Cocoa Puffs and theirs. Sorry. Canned food, SpaghettiOs. A can of SpaghettiOs will last 100 years. Forget what it says in the expiration date. Sorry. 100 years a can of vegetables will last. As long as it doesn't rust or get dented. So don't go to the grocery store throwing cans of food on the floor so you can get it 5 cents off the can. And then you can store it. Store it someplace dry. And it'll last. You can do canning. You can get yourself a dehydrator like we've done. Dehydrate your vegetables. You can do this stuff. It's not that hard. Even a dehydrator costs a couple $100. Get a good one, the Excalibur. A couple $100. And then you can store eons of food. I'm telling you, I bought the first 12 cases of mason jar quartz, and I thought I would be through them like that. And you know how long it took me to use up those 12? It took me practically all summer. Months. Because a pound of carrots dehydrate down to like a half a jar. So, you can store your own food. And there's Excalibur site has YouTube's tell you just how to do it. All you gotta do is watch. Nice cup of tea, gallon of cup of tea, I don't know. Watch, learn. Google it on YouTube, as much as I hate to say Google, but yeah, Google it. Because most of the time when a disaster happens, it's everybody out for themselves. And you're waiting for the National Guard to show up. Where are most of our National Guard these days? Are they in this country? No. So you're going to wait. Irene came through New England a few years ago. Places, Vermont, they had helicopters had to drop food to them and water because the roads were impassable. It doesn't take much. So be prepared. You know, anybody's a prepper if they have a flashlight in their house or they have some candles in the house. They're a prepper. They just have already started becoming a prepper. They just have to continue on. You live in an apartment building on the 22nd floor and you've got a beautiful sight of the ocean or something. But if the power goes out and they're not pumping water to your floor, what are you going to do? You're going to go down to the ground floor and you're going to go out with all the other people in your apartment building looking for food and water and a place to go poop. And what are you going to do? You know, I discovered that 27 rolls of toilet paper will fit in a Home Depot bucket. Single ply, cheap stuff, but you know, still, 27 rolls. Snap that cover on tight so it stays dry. You know, if you have rain, the bucket stays dry. Take your personal items that you need, your birth certificate, all that other stuff, put it in a Home Depot bucket, label it. You know, or at least copies of them. So if you need them down the road, or maybe if just your family pictures. You know, how many people go looking through the rubble of their home looking for pictures? You know, usually they can't find them, they're burnt, or you know, it's the big deal when they find their photo album in the rubble. Sustainability, prepping. People laugh at people that are preppers. How many times have you laughed at somebody who said that they were a prepper? You know, it's years ago. I'm 57. I just turned, or am I 58? What do you think? 57, 58, okay. 57. Yep. 57. When I was a kid, my aunts, they had this pantry full of food. They had the basement full of preserves and wine. Yeah, wine. And they had food and canned stuff and box stuff, and they had a dehumidifier to keep the basement dry. You know, you watch a Design to Sell show on TV, designing a kitchen. How much space is there for food storage? How much? Hardly any. There's no more pantries designed into kitchens. You know, you need a separate bedroom for food storage. It was just had rice. You know? And a way to purify water. A Berkeley or there's another one. There's one called the Straw, which is a great thing. And you can filter water and just sip it out of a cup. And you could have a pretty good clean water and have some drink. I mean, there's such much available out there now. So much. What are you doing? You know, I see people saying, "Oh, we're going to build a homestead," and they're out and they're cutting the grass. Well, it's good to cut the grass. It's good to get ready for fields, but it's June. In 3 months, it's going to be cold in a lot of places in the United States. I wouldn't say that. Last year, this time, last winter, it was cold in almost every place in the United States. So you have to have a way to survive through your winter. That's the way it is. Sorry. You know, you have to have some place to survive, some place to eat, some place to have water. So what did I say? Food, water, shelter. 3 major things you need to survive. Clothing, you're probably going to have clothing. But you should have clothing. You should have warm socks. You should have a good pair of shoes. You should have 2 pairs of shoes stored away. And some boots. Wool socks. Merino wool will wick moisture away from your feet. Keep you warm. You know, hey, you live in Florida? Well, so what? I see people on TV wearing coats in Florida. So it must be cold there some time of the year. Let's go with clothing. Healthcare. What about healthcare? How much medication do you have stored away to get you through a couple of weeks if there's some disaster hits your area? What are you going to do? I mean, do you only have enough to get you to the end of the week or the end of the month? Or do you have a month's supply ahead of that? A lot of times you can refill your prescription a week ahead of time because they don't want you running out either. So every time you refill, you fill it 7 days early. And all of a sudden you got a month's worth. All of a sudden you have 2 months worth. You know, all of a sudden you have 6 months worth. Possibilities. It's not that hard. You know, there's a lot of help out there on YouTube. People that have done it already, and they're willing to share the information for free. You don't even have to buy a book. All you gotta do is sit and watch YouTube videos. And then you ask a question. And they're usually more than helpful to answer your question. Sustainability. You look at disasters that have happened in the United States recently. How many people are like dumbfounded on what to do? Look at other countries. You know, the only place that was amazing was Japan. Japan, because they seemed to like love each other. They were friendly and supportive, and they'd share their food, and you know, it was an amazing thing to watch because you never see that anywhere else. Usually you see videos of people fighting over water. Oh, he's got 2 bottles of water. Grab them. Now he has no bottles of water, and somebody else has the 2 bottles of water. If you like that kind of thing, great. You know? Sooner or later, you gotta sleep. You know, you want to be someplace you can be safe. If you're held up someplace where there's 1,000 people outside banging on your windows. Oh, Walking Dead. They're not going to be walking dead, they're going to be alive, and they're going to want what you have. So you're going to find some place that you can be safe. Or you have enough people around that can protect it. This is what it's about. It's not doom and gloom. If you replaced every light in your house with an LED bulb or an LED fluorescent light tube, which is an LED bulb but it just looks like a fluorescent light tube, you could reduce your electricity, you know, 5 to 1. So a 1 watt LED is a, you know, it's actually 10 times a watt, right? So a 5 watt bulb is a 50 watt light bulb equivalent to an incandescent bulb. So you have to get used to the light a little bit. Yeah, it's a little different. You know, I had a conversation with a lady at Home Depot that she wanted bright lights in her bathroom. I said, you can do really well with LEDs. She said, I don't really care. I want halogen because halogen puts out the best light. It's like what you could heat your whole home with the lights you're going to have in that bathroom. You're not going to like it if they put a nuclear power plant down the road to power people's homes because everyone wants the brightest and biggest. So you have to learn to live differently even now. You don't have to wait till the disaster to break out the LED bulbs. You can do it now. You know, lots of different ways that you can conserve electricity, conserve heat. Live more frugal. Learn to live off the land. You know, you don't have to go out and hunt for a deer every night to survive. But you can certainly learn to eat more organically, close to organic. You know, learn about GMO foods. Learn about heirloom vegetables, which is the stuff that we used to eat so many years ago until money got involved with food. So that's what you got to do. I'm rambling on, 25 minutes. No wonder I was waiting to put this video off. A lot of people can. Even if you have to go to the grocery store, go to a farmer's market and buy fresh fruit, fresh vegetables that they've grown as close to organic as possible, if not organic. A lot of people are growing ways and staying away from chemicals and fertilizers and pesticides and all that stuff. A lot of people are doing that already. So you buy their vegetables, you buy their fruit, and then you go home and you can it all. You learn to can. Canning is actually with bottles. You learn to do it. You label everything, you do it right. And it's there for winter. You know, a can of string beans from Campbell's has been tortured. And you know why it's tortured? It's because people let it happen. You, me, our parents, our grandparents, they let it happen. People said, that's fine, I want to have vegetables that I can't eat in January, so it's fine for you to can it and destroy the nutrition in it. Because I want to just feel like I'm eating a green bean, even though it's not a fresh green bean. But you can can green beans, and they're relatively fresh. You just don't destroy them, pulverize them, and you'll find out. You'll find out what canned foods are good to store and which ones aren't. I mean, you can store them all. Some are nutritional, some aren't. And some are better off eating them and then not eating anything. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to eat a can of Campbell's string beans. Or is it Campbell's? It's Green Giant, sorry. So, learn. Even if you're sick, how often have you been sick and you go to the cupboard and there's no soup? You said, gee, I was going to go shopping Friday and now I'm sick. And get a couple of cans. Why would you only get a couple of cans of soup? Why wouldn't you just buy a whole case? It'll fit in your cabinet. Most people have plenty of room in their cabinet. If it won't fit in the cabinet, slide it under your bed. Stock it up in the bottom of the closet where you usually just throw your old shoes. The stores will sell you a case of unless you're in a disaster period, they'll sell you a case of green beans. They'll sell you a case of baked beans. Oh, and don't forget to store a can opener. Or you'll just have to watch a YouTube video and figure out how to open up a can without a can opener. It's a simple way. Maybe, if you have a cinder block around. Or a cement floor or something. It's doable. But wouldn't it be nice to just have a can opener that didn't have to plug in the wall? Store it with your can stuff. It's simple. It's really common sense, but you don't think about it because we're so used to going to the grocery store every other day and buying food that you just don't think about storing enough food that can last you a month. But these days, every governor that has any sense in their head, they tell you. Here, Mitt Romney, he was telling us to have at least 2 weeks of food and water supplies in your house or your apartment for a disaster. So, in other words, They all say it. They don't always say it when you want to hear it, but they say it. In all reality, you should have a year's worth of food stored away in your emergency supplies with you and your friends, with you and your family. Hopefully friends and family. A year's worth of supply and rotate your stock. Or buy it in a kit. I mean, there's a lot of kits out there. $1,000 you can get a year's worth of food for a family of 4. And then it's nutritional. And you might even get some seeds with it. So you can grow something. You might even get a water purifier, or you can do it yourself. So you don't have to do the buckets and Mylars and all that stuff. It's not that hard. I mean, I think it'll fit in a closet, that year's worth of food. You'll have to learn how to cook it though. You'll have to learn how to grind your flour, and it won't be microwave. It won't be a frozen dinner you could just throw in a microwave. You'll have to learn to cook. So that could be a good thing if you don't know how to cook. I would assume that if you don't know how to cook, you wouldn't be watching my video anyway. But so many years ago, I decided to throw away the microwave. My daughter had to learn to cook. They say she can cook. My older daughter, she didn't quite like me throwing away the microwave, so she didn't really learn to cook. She can make a great macaroni and cheese though. And that there is a challenge there to make a good craft macaroni and cheese. So, there's possibilities. Sustainability. Alright, maybe I am a sustainabilityologist, because I do know an awful lot about it. So, what can you do? What can you do today? You could say, tomorrow I'm going to go to the store. Well, what can you do right now? Maybe you can make a list of what things you wish. The thing to make a list of is, if you went to the grocery store tomorrow and the things that you wanted to buy for your home were not on the shelves, what would they be? What would they be? Because not everybody likes macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese doesn't taste good if you don't have milk. So maybe you need to get some dry milk so you can make milk. If you buy the kit, you get the whey milk, which you can make milk out of. A little bit better than Carnation, full of sugar, fake milk. But still. Because you could buy 6 gallons of milk, and if you lose power, it's probably going to be crap in a couple days if you don't have a way of keeping it cold. And if you're really questionable about the off-the-shelf milk, try freezing it and taking a look at what it looks like when you freeze it, and compare that to cow's milk, from a local farm. And that's another thing. Learn who your neighbors are. Because you might have a neighbor that you've never paid much attention to that already has a flock of chickens. And they sell their eggs. So now you have a source of eggs. All you got to do is talk to your neighbor and say, well, what can I do that you need and you would rather someone else did? Maybe raising hogs, for example, pigs. They don't want to do that. Or maybe you could put up some bees. Learn to do top bar feeds. There's a lot of places out there that'll teach you how to do bees. So maybe you could have honey. And then you could trade your honey for something else, for eggs, or for milk, or bread. Make your own bread. 4 ingredients: water, flour, yeast, and salt. Take a look on the side of an ingredient panel for your favorite bread. How many ingredients are in it? 50 maybe? Well, there's only really 4. Learn to do stuff yourself. Work with others. Make friends. Trust nobody. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I've been watching X-Files. But, sustainability. It's very simple. Even on a small scale. 2 weeks. Have enough supplies for 2 weeks. Lately, most things usually clear up after 2 weeks. Not saying that's how it's always going to be. I'm not saying doom and gloom, but I mean, look at people that have been through these horrific earthquakes and their cities are totally destroyed. Where are they right now? I mean, granted, we don't see it on the news anymore because it's not big news. Something else has replaced it. But it's not like everything's gone back to normal. They probably still don't have any place to poop. Or if not, there's a line, or are they just going in the street? So, sit down with a list. What do you need? If you woke up tomorrow and there was a disaster, maybe you woke up in the middle of the night because you couldn't sleep because the bed was shaking, or sirens going off, or something. Gunfire. What do you need to survive? Prayer. Do you have a local prayer group that you can sit down with? What do you need to survive? You need friends. You can't survive on your own. Some people do. I'm not saying you can't, but I don't think it's any fun. Particularly when the TV goes off. You might say you could survive on your own, but what happens when you lose your iPhone no longer connects to a tower? You can't watch videos. You can't play your game because your game only works if it's connected to a tower. It's not freestyle. But what happens if you can't charge your cell phone because there's no power? And you run out of gas in your car because you've been using your car as a place to stay warm or stay cold and charge your phone. Now your gas ran out because you made a habit of only filling up to a quarter of a tank, or you only filled up your car when it was on empty. Which I'm guilty of it. Quarter of a tank yesterday, went and filled up. Although I do have a 5-gallon can of gasoline in the back of the trunk, Don't tell anybody. Do not tell anybody, because they will know. And then I'll have people wanting it. Yep. Boy, this is a long video. Should I edit it? Feel free to not watch the whole thing if you don't wish to. What do you need to survive? Just don't come knocking on my door. Unless you've got toilet paper, because we're going to run out of it. And then you're going to be using leaves. Or maybe you'll be using your photo album, because that's all you have left. What do you need to survive? That's what it's about. That is the title of this video. What do you need to survive? On a pleasant note, it's a beautiful day outside. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your food, water, clothing, healthcare, and education. Buy books. Because if you buy everything electronically for reading and there's no power, you're not going to be able to look it up. So buy books. Buy books. On paper. I'm tempted to buy it that way because it's cheaper. I can go buy it off of Amazon and get a book that's $30 for $1. $1. But I can't write it in a book. Power goes off. I won't have it anymore. So, buy books, make notes, build a library. Maybe something on first aid. Maybe something on butchering animals, so you know how to field dress. I don't know how to field dress. I haven't bought the book yet. I'm hoping somebody else will do it. That's why I don't want to live all by myself. I want somebody else to know things. What do you need to survive? And who do you want to survive with? Out for now. Enjoy.